The ruins were silent but not empty. Smoke curled up from broken walls, sparks hissed from twisted metal. The battlefield was still alive with danger. Among the wreckage, a small figure moved slowly. An alien child, thin and tired, dragged their feet over stone. Their eyes were wide and full of fear. Their clothes were torn. Their hands shook as they clutched a piece of metal scrap. Useless as a weapon, but it gave a false sense of safety. The child whispered to themselves, their voice trembling, "No one wants me. No one will come." The war had taken everything. Family, home, and hope. Now only the sound of broken machines and the smell of smoke remained. Far away, deep metallic footsteps echoed. Thud. 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 The child froze. A shadow stretched across the wall. A scanning beam swept the ground like a hunter's eye. It was a drone searching for survivors, not to save them, but to collect them. Survivors were nothing but items to be sold. The child pressed their body against cold stone, trying not to breathe. Heartbeat loud, fingers shaking. The drone's red light passed closer and closer. For a moment, the child thought it was over. But then, the drone turned and floated away. The child exhaled softly, but fear stayed inside them. Every step in this ruin was a trap. Hours passed. The child walked through broken streets, searching for food or water. They found only dust, empty cans, burnt wood. Their throat was dry. Their stomach hurt. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. Not machine footsteps. Not the buzzing of a drone. It was softer. Human boots. The child ducked behind rubble, eyes sharp, with fear. They had seen humans before, soldiers, rough voices, strange eyes. Some took what they wanted and left others to die. The boots came closer. A human stepped into view. His uniform was torn, armor scratched, but he stood tall. His face was tired, but his eyes were sharp and alert. He carried no weapon in his hands, only a pack slung across his back. The child's body tightened, muscles ready to run, but there was nowhere safe to go. The human paused. His head turned slightly. He had seen movement. "Who's there?" His voice was deep, but not angry. The child did not answer. They pressed deeper into the rubble. Silent. The human sighed. Slowly, he crouched, putting one knee to the ground. "I know you're hiding," he said softly. "It's all right. I'm not here to hurt you." The child's eyes narrowed. Words like that had been lies before. Promises meant nothing. The man reached into his pack and pulled out a small packet of food. He tore it open and set it on the ground. Then he backed away. "You must be hungry," he said gently. "Take it if you want. I'll stay back." The child's stomach twisted with need. The smell of food was strong, but fear was stronger. Minutes passed. Smoke drifted in the air. The man did not move closer. He simply waited. Finally, the child crawled forward, hand shaking. They grabbed the food, pulled it close, and ate quickly. The man watched quietly. "You're not safe here," the human said after a long pause. "Scavengers are still hunting." The child froze again. Their eyes darted around the ruins. The man's words carried truth. They could hear distant echoes of machines. The man stood. "You can come with me, I have shelter." The child shook their head. "No. No one wants me. No one." The human looked at them for a long time. His face showed pain, not anger, not pity, but something deeper. He stepped closer, slow and careful. He leaned down, his voice low, steady and kind. "You're wrong," he whispered. "You're home now." The child's chest tightened. The words felt impossible. Home? After everything? But in that moment, in the middle of ruins and smoke, those words felt like light breaking through the dark. The child did not answer. They only stared. their heart caught between fear and a strange new hope. And then, a sharp metallic screech tore through the silence. Red lights flashed across the ruins. The scavenger drones had returned, and this time, they had found their target. The red lights swept across broken walls. Metal wings buzzed in the smoke. The scavenger drones had locked on. The alien child froze, heart beating like a drum. Their tiny hands trembled as the machines drew closer. The human soldier stood tall, eyes sharp. He pulled the child behind him and whispered, "Stay low. Don't make a sound." The child wanted to run, to vanish into shadows, but their legs would not move. The human did not run. He reached for a shard of broken wall, heavy like a stone. He held it like a weapon. The first drone came down, its red eye glowing, scanner screaming. The man threw the stone. Crash! Sparks exploded. The drone spun, fell, and burned on the ground, but two more appeared at once. Their mechanical arms reached forward, sharp claws ready. The human grabbed the child's hand. "Come!" They ran through narrow streets, their footsteps loud against broken stone. Smoke made it hard to breathe. Behind them, the drones followed. Red lights flashed. Alarms howled. The child stumbled, but the man pulled them up, never letting go. They ducked into an old tunnel, half broken and filled with dust. The man pressed the child against the wall. "Quiet," he whispered. His chest rose and fell fast, but his eyes were steady. The drones passed above, their buzzing fading into distance. The tunnel went silent again, except for the child's shaky breathing. The human crouched, searching through his pack. He pulled out a small light and some water. He handed it to the child. "Drink, slowly." The child stared. Trust was not easy, but thirst won. They sipped carefully, eyes never leaving the man. "Why?" the child whispered at last. "Why help me?" The man looked at them, tired lines on his face. "Because no one helped me once, and I swore I'd never leave anyone behind again." The child lowered their gaze. The words stirred something inside, something strange. They walked deeper into the tunnel. The air was heavy. The walls cracked and dripped water. Strange symbols were carved into the stone, marks from a forgotten time. The child touched one of the carvings. It felt cold and sharp. "What is this place?" they asked. "Old war shelter," the man answered. "Before my time. Before yours. Maybe. It was built to hide, to survive." The child hugged themselves. The silence pressed against their ears. They remembered other voices, long ago, family, friends, voices that had promised safety. But war had taken them all. Every promise had broken. They whispered bitterly, "No one wanted me. No one ever will." The man stopped walking. He turned, crouched to the child's height, and placed his hand gently on their shoulder. "You're wrong," he said firmly. "I wanted you. I found you. I won't let them take you." The child's throat tightened. They turned away, not wanting him to see their tears. Suddenly, a grinding noise echoed through the tunnel, metal scraping on stone. The man raised his light. Far ahead, two glowing eyes shone in the dark. A drone had followed. It lunged forward. Its claws scraped sparks from the wall. "Run!" the man shouted. They sprinted through the tunnel. The child's legs burned. The man fired a small pistol he had hidden until now. The shots cracked, bright in the dark. Sparks flew from the drone, but it kept coming. The tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber. Rusted machines stood silent, long dead. Old lights flickered faintly, as if waking after years. The man pulled the child behind a pillar. "Stay here." He stepped out, aimed, carefully, and fired again. The drone screamed with static and fell, broken. Smoke drifted from its ruined body. The child ran to him. "You could have died." The man wiped sweat from his brow. "Maybe, but better me than you." They searched the chamber. In the center, stood a large sealed door with strange lights glowing faintly around it. The child tilted their head. "What is it?" The man studied it with sharp eyes. "A beacon, an old one. It can send a signal. Maybe call help." The child's heart jumped. Help? Could such a thing still exist? The man pressed his hand against the panel. The lights blinked weakly. Dust fell from the ceiling. Something inside the door hummed with power, like a giant heart beating again. After years of silence, the child stepped back. "Is it safe?" The man gave a tired smile. "No, but it's hope." The hum grew louder. The chamber shook. The child clutched his arm, fear rising again. What if others hear it? What if they... "Come?" The man's voice was calm but heavy. "Then we survive together, whatever comes." The beacon lit fully. A beam of white light shot upward, cutting through the stone ceiling, breaking into the sky above. Far above the ruins, the signal burned, across the stars. The child stared at it, heart racing. For the first time, the word home felt real, like a dream reaching out. But the man's face was grim. "That signal won't just call friends," the child swallowed hard. "Then, who else will come?" The man looked up at the beam, his hand tight on his weapon. His voice was low. "Enemies." The beacon's light cut through the clouds like a blade. It rose higher and higher, glowing across the dead sky. The alien child stood in awe, eyes wide, mouth open. For a moment, it felt like hope, like a star shining only for them. But the human soldier did not smile. His face was tense, jaw tight. He knew light could guide friends, but also enemies, and enemies were faster. The ground shook. The sound of heavy boots and metallic claws echoed through the ruins above the chamber. The scavengers had seen the signal. They were coming. The human gripped his weapon tightly. He whispered to the child, "Stay close. Do not run ahead. Do not fall behind." The child nodded, though fear made their legs weak. Suddenly, a loud crash thundered through the tunnel they had used earlier. A drone, larger than before, smashed its way in. Its red eyes burned bright, and behind it, dark figures stepped into the chamber. The scavenger leader entered. His armor was patched together with bones and steel. His mask covered his face, but his voice cut through like broken glass. "There you are," the leader growled. "The last of your kind, small, weak, worthless, but valuable to me." The child's heart froze. Their worst nightmare had found them. The man stepped forward, standing tall. His voice was firm. "You're not taking the child." The scavenger leader laughed, a cruel and hollow sound. "You humans never learn. You think you can protect what is not yours? Everything here belongs to us now." He raised his hand and the drones spread out, red lights circling the chamber. Their claws clicked eagerly like predators ready to feast. The child clutched the man's arm. "We can't win," they whispered. The man crouched slightly, meeting the child's frightened eyes. "We don't have to win. We just have to survive." He pulled a small device from his belt and pressed it. Smoke burst across the chamber, blinding red lights for a moment. "Run!" he shouted. They ran between pillars, the child's small feet pounding hard against the stone. Behind them, the scavenger leader shouted orders. Metal footsteps thundered as drones gave chase. Shots of red energy blasted through the smoke, striking walls, burning holes into the stone. Sparks rained down. The child tripped on rubble, but the man caught them, lifting them up without stopping. "Keep moving." They slipped into a broken passageway, squeezing through narrow walls. The smoke behind them cleared, and the scavenger leader's voice echoed again. "You can't hide forever, little one. I will find you. And when I do, your human will beg before he dies." The child shivered. Their body wanted to stop, to cry, but the man's hand was strong, pulling them forward. The passage opened into another chamber. This one was smaller, filled with old machines and rusted weapons left behind from forgotten wars. The man quickly searched. He found a broken rifle, wires exposed. With quick hands, he stripped parts and attached them to his pistol. The weapon hummed louder, glowing faint blue. The child watched, amazed. "You can fix things?" The man gave a small smile. "Not fix. Make dangerous enough." But before he could finish, another drone burst through the wall, scattering stone across the floor. The child screamed. The man fired. A bright bolt of energy cracked through the air, striking the drone in its core. The machine screeched and collapsed, smoke rising, but the noise had given away their position. From the tunnel behind, more footsteps came. The scavenger leader's shadow grew taller on the wall. His voice came closer. "You are mine, child. You cannot escape. The galaxy does not want you. Only I do." The words cut deep. The child felt them like chains wrapping around their heart. Was it true? Were they really unwanted by all but monsters? The man knelt, gripping the child's shoulder. His eyes burned with fire. "Don't listen to him. You are not his. You are not theirs. You are not worthless. You are more than they." "No." The child swallowed hard. For the first time, they believed maybe, just maybe, he was right. But there was no time for hope. The scavenger leader stepped into the chamber with 3 drones at his side. His mask tilted, eyes glowing red through the visor. "You can't fight all of us, human," he hissed. "Give the child to me, walk away alive." The man lifted his weapon, standing tall despite the blood running down his arm. "Over my dead body." The leader chuckled darkly. "That can be arranged." The drones leapt forward. The man fired, blasting one apart in a shower of sparks. He kicked over a rusted machine, creating cover. The child hid behind it, heart racing. Explosions lit the chamber. The man fought fiercely, but there were too many. A drone's claw slashed his side, tearing into his armor. He staggered, blood dripping onto the stone. "Human!" the child cried. The scavenger leader stepped closer, towering over the child now. His shadow fell across them like a prison. "See? He cannot protect you. No one can. You are mine." The man struggled to stand, his body shaking. He raised his weapon one last time. "You will not touch them." The scavenger leader's laugh echoed through the chamber as his drones closed in from all sides. The chamber was alive with chaos. Sparks rained from the ceiling as broken machines burned. The scavenger leader stood tall, his mask glowing red, his drones circling like wolves. The human soldier's breath came heavy. Blood ran from his side where the drone's claw had torn through. His weapon trembled in his hands, but his eyes still burned with defiance. The alien child pressed their back against cold stone, heart racing, too afraid to move. The scavenger leader's voice cut through the smoke. "See how weak he is?" he hissed. "He cannot save himself, let alone you. Come with me, child. Accept your place and you might live." The child shook their head violently, tears blurring their vision. "No." The human, even on one knee, raised his weapon again. His voice was low but strong. "They're not yours. They will never be yours." The leader tilted his head. Then, with a sharp gesture, he ordered his drones forward. The machines lunged, red eyes flashed. The chamber echoed with the sound of metal claws scraping stone. The human fired. Blue bolts of energy cracked through the dark. One drone fell, twitching in smoke, but another claw struck him hard, knocking him against the wall. His weapon skidded, across the floor out of reach. The child screamed. They wanted to run, but their feet would not move. Their heart felt trapped between terror and something else, something new. The human, broken and bleeding, looked up at them. "Don't give in," he whispered. The child's throat tightened. No one had ever said such words to them. No one had ever believed in them. The scavenger leader stepped closer, his heavy boots echoing. His shadow swallowed the child. "You see? He will die, alone, and you will still be mine." For the first time, the child did not believe the words. They rushed forward, grabbing the man's arm, pulling him with all their strength. He was heavy, but they refused to stop. Come, you can't give up. We have to go. The leader snarled. Fools. Run if you like. There is no escape. The child dragged the human into a broken side passage. The narrow walls scraped their skin, but they didn't stop. Behind them, drones screeched, claws scraping as they forced their way through. The tunnel was dark, dripping with water. Every sound echoed, every step shaking the child's heart. But still they pulled, refusing to leave the man behind. The man groaned, pain in every breath. Why, didn't you run? The child's voice cracked but was firm. Because you didn't run from me. The tunnel twisted downward. Old cables hung from the ceiling, sparking faintly. Strange lights glowed in the walls, weak but steady, like ancient stars buried in the earth. At last they stumbled into a hidden chamber. It was smaller, quieter, with machines humming softly as if still alive. In the center was a tall console, its screen faintly glowing with unreadable symbols. The man collapsed against the console, his face pale. The child panicked, hands shaking as they tried to stop the blood. Don't die, please don't die. The man managed a weak smile. Not yet. He pointed at the console. That's what I was looking for. The child turned, staring at the strange machine. What is it? A beacon, but different, stronger. It can call across the stars. His voice faded, almost breaking. If I can power it. The child wiped their tears and stood tall. For the first time, they didn't feel small. They felt needed. How do I help? The man's tired eyes softened. Trust yourself. Trust me. The child studied the console. The screen flickered with symbols they didn't understand. Their hand hovered, shaking. The scavenger leader's voice echoed faintly in the tunnels behind. Little one, where are you hiding? You cannot keep him alive forever. Give him to me, and I may spare you. The child clenched their jaw. Their fear burned away, replaced by anger. No, I won't. They pressed their hands on the console. The symbols glowed brighter. The machine hummed louder. Energy surged through the room, lighting the walls. The human coughed, forcing himself up. Good. You're doing it. Suddenly the chamber shook. The beacon roared, sending out a pulse of white light that spread through the tunnels like a wave. Far above, in the broken sky, ships stirred. Something ancient had been awakened. The scavenger leader stormed into the chamber at last, his drones crashing through walls. He saw the glowing console and snarled. What have you done? The child stood in front of it, shaking but firm. For the first time, they did not hide behind the man. They faced the leader. You can't have me, they said, their voice trembling but strong. The leader's mask tilted. Then he laughed, a dark, cruel laugh. Brave, but useless. When I kill your human, you'll beg for me to take you. He raised his weapon, pointing it at the soldier. The man forced himself to stand, weak but unbroken. He moved in front of the child once more. Not today. The chamber filled with light as the beacon reached full power. The sound was like thunder, shaking stone, from the ceiling. And then, ships appeared in the sky above. The beacon's roar faded, but its light remained. It shot through stone and sky, a pillar of brilliance reaching the stars. The alien child shielded their eyes. The human soldier leaned on the console, pale but unbroken. Both of them stared upward. High above, the clouds split open. Shapes moved. In the sky, dark against the light, ships, many ships. The child whispered, voice trembling, Are they here to save us? The man's face stayed grim. Not all who answer a call come as friends. The scavenger leader stepped into the chamber, his mask glowing red. His laughter echoed like metal on stone. You think help has come? No, the galaxy does not care for you. These ships are vultures like me. They come to feed. His drones advanced, claws sparking. The child pressed close to the human, fear crawling through their body. But the man stood tall. raising his weapon despite the blood staining his armor. Maybe. But whoever they are, we'll face them together. Above, the sky filled with fire. Ships circled, weapons glowing faintly. Some bore strange banners the child had never seen. Others were scavenger craft, ugly, patched, hungry, and in between one ship shone brighter than the rest. Sleek, strong, glowing blue. Its engines hummed like thunder. The scavenger leader saw it too. His mask tilted. His voice hissed through the chamber. That one is dangerous. The child's heart pounded. The beacon's call had brought more than hope. It had brought a storm. Outside, battles began. Scavenger ships fired on the newcomers. Explosions cracked across the sky, shaking the ground below. The air stank of burning metal. Inside the tunnels, the leader's drones attacked again. The man fired, striking one down. The child grabbed a broken pipe and swung at another, surprising even themselves. Sparks flew as the claw scraped past their face. The man shouted, "Good! Don't stop!" The child screamed and struck again, smashing. The drone's red eye. It collapsed, twitching on the floor. For the first time, the child felt strength in their own hands. But the leader did not falter. He moved through the fight like a shadow, his blade flashing. He cut the man's weapon in half with a single strike. The human staggered back unarmed, chest rising and falling with effort. The leader raised his blade toward him. This is the end. The child threw themselves between them, their small arms spread wide. "No, you can't take him." The leader froze, his mask staring down. Then he laughed darkly. "Brave little thing, but useless. You think standing there changes your fate?" The man coughed, his voice rough but steady. "It already has." They chose to stand. Above, the battle grew louder. The sleek ship fired a massive shot that tore through a scavenger vessel. Debris rained down, crashing into the ruins. The ground shook violently. Dust and stone fell from the chamber ceiling. The beacon pulsed again, sending another signal across the stars. The leader hissed, stepping back. His mask turned toward the sky. "More will come. More scavengers, more hunters. You will drown in them." The child shouted back, surprising even themselves. "Then we'll fight. Together." The leader's laugh echoed, but there was anger inside it now. "We'll see how long your courage lasts." He signaled his remaining drones. "Kill the human. Bring the child alive." The chamber filled with claws and red light. The man grabbed a fallen blade from the floor, swinging it with all his strength. The child struck with their pipe, fierce despite their size. One drone fell, then another. But the man staggered, his wound bleeding again. He dropped to one knee. The child screamed his name, rushing to his side. The leader closed in, towering, above. "See? Even now he cannot protect you. His body breaks. His blood spills. And when he dies, you will beg for me." The child clung to the man, shaking their head. "No, you're wrong. He's not alone. I'm here." The man forced himself to stand again, leaning on the child for support. His voice was weak but firm. "And together we are stronger than you think." Above, the sleek ship descended, lower. Its engines roared like thunder. A beam of blue light swept across the battlefield. For a moment, the leader hesitated. His mask tilted, as if calculating. The child's heart leapt. Was it friend? Was it savior? Then the beam struck the ground, tearing open a crater near the ruins. The child gasped. "It's attacking!" The man narrowed his eyes. "No, it's warning." The scavenger leader snarled. "Enough games. This ends now." He lunged forward, blade raised high. The child screamed, and then blue light filled the chamber. The sleek ship's beam cut through stone, blasting between the leader and his prey. The ground split open. Dust and fire swallowed the air. When the smoke cleared, the child and the man were still alive. But the scavenger leader stood on the other side of the broken floor, separated from them. His mask glowed with fury. "This isn't over," he roared. "You are mine." He vanished into the shadows, retreating with his surviving drones. The man collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. The child knelt beside him, gripping his hand tightly. Above, the sleek ship hovered, its light shining directly on them. The child whispered, their voice small but full of hope and fear. "Who are they?" The man stared up at the ship. His voice was low, steady, and uncertain. "We're about to find out." The ruins shook as the sleek ship hovered above. Its blue light poured down into the shattered chamber. The alien child stared up, heart caught between hope and fear. Was this the rescue they had prayed for, or another trap? The human soldier leaned against the wall, pale and bleeding, his chest rising heavily. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The ship's light shifted. A thin beam scanned across the ground, moving over stone, metal, and finally the child. The light paused there, almost studying them. Then, with a deep rumble, the ship began to descend. The child's pulse raced. Their body wanted to run, but their feet stayed frozen. The man gripped their hand weakly. "No matter what happens, don't give up. You're stronger than you think." A hatch opened in the ship's underside. Ropes uncoiled. Figures slid down. Tall, armored beings, faces hidden behind mirrored helmets. Their weapons gleamed silver blue. The scavenger leader had not retreated far. He emerged from the shadows, his mask glowing red with fury. His voice carried across the broken floor. "Do not be fooled, little one. These are no saviors. They come for power, not you." The armored beings spread out, forming a circle around the chamber. Their leader stepped forward, removing his helmet. His face was human, sharp and cold, with eyes like steel. The child blinked. "Another human?" The soldier's jaw tightened. "Not one of mine." The man's voice was calm, almost polite. "We received your beacon. This sector is unstable. The child will come with us. That is the order." The soldier stepped forward, despite the blood on his armor. "No, they're not yours to command." The other human tilted his head, expression unreadable. "You are dying. You can barely stand. And the child—" He looked at the alien child with interest, as if measuring value. "The child is rare, unique. Their DNA is priceless. They belong with us now." The child trembled. They had heard those words before: belong, property, priceless. Always from those who wanted to take, never to protect. The soldier placed himself between them and the strangers. His voice was sharp. "They belong with no one. They're free." The scavenger leader laughed from the shadows. "Do you see, child? One human promises you safety. Another human wants to sell you. Which voice will you trust?" The child's throat closed. Confusion and fear swirled inside them. Who was telling the truth? The cold-eyed human raised his hand. "Take them." The armored soldiers moved fast. Two grabbed the child's arms. Their grip was like iron. The child cried out, kicking. But the men didn't flinch. The soldier roared, forcing himself forward. He swung the broken blade he had scavenged earlier. One armored man fell, sparks flying from his chest plate, but the others struck him down with the butt of their weapons. He crashed to the ground, coughing blood. "Human!" the child screamed, struggling against the chains that now bound their wrists. The scavenger leader stepped closer, watching with delight. "You see, they all want you, for power, for profit, for control, but none truly want you for yourself." The child's chest ached. Their body shook in the chains. The armored soldiers pulled them toward the ropes. The soldier on the ground reached out, his voice broken but fierce. "Don't believe him. Don't believe them. You are not theirs. You are not mine. You are yourself." Tears filled the child's eyes. They wanted to run to him, to drag him away like they had before, but the chains cut into their skin, pulling them upward toward the ship. As they rose, the scavenger leader's mask tilted, upward, watching. His voice carried like poison. "Remember, little one, when he is gone, when you are alone again, you will see the truth. No one wanted you. No one ever will." The words stabbed deep, but the memory of the soldier's whisper pushed back. You're home now." The child's tears fell, but their eyes burned with something new. They shouted down, voice shaking but strong. "You're wrong. Someone did want me. He came back for me. He stayed." The scavenger leader snarled, his laughter breaking into rage. The cold-eyed human didn't react. He only said flatly, "Enough. Bring the child aboard." The soldier on the ground tried to rise, again, but his strength failed. His hand slipped, his eyes dimming. Still his lips moved, whispering something only the child could hear. "Hold on. I'll come for you." The chains dragged the child into the ship. The hatch closed with a heavy thud. Darkness swallowed them. Inside, the air smelled sharp and clean. The armored men sat them on a chair and locked the chains tight. The cold-eyed leader stood over them, studying their face. "You will be useful," he said simply. The child glared through tears. "I'm not yours." The man gave a thin smile. "You will be. Everyone breaks eventually." The engines roared. The ship rose higher into the sky, leaving the ruins behind. Below, the scavenger leader watched with fury. The soldier lay broken, in the dust, his eyes fixed on the vanishing light above. And though his body was weak, his heart burned with one thought only. "I will not let them take you, not while I breathe." Chains bit into the alien child's wrists. The cold ship hummed as it carried them higher, far from the ruins below. The armored soldiers stood like statues, their mirrored helmets reflecting the child's frightened face. Across, from them, the cold-eyed human leader sat calmly, hands folded. His voice was low, smooth, and sharp as a knife. "You will learn," he said. "You may resist now. You may cry, fight, even curse me. But in the end, you will understand. Everyone breaks." The child glared through tears. Their voice cracked, but was strong. "I won't, because someone already taught me how to fight." The leader raised an eyebrow. "That wounded soldier? He is dying in the dust. You saw it yourself. His words are nothing but breath." The child closed their eyes. They could still hear his whisper. "Hold on. I'll come for you." And in that memory, they found strength. Below in the ruins, the soldier stirred. His body screamed with pain. Blood soaked his armor. For a moment, darkness pulled at him, urging him to let go. But then he saw the sky. He saw the ship carrying the child away, and he remembered their small voice, trembling yet brave. "I'm not yours." He clenched his teeth. His body refused to rise, but his will refused to break. He crawled, dragging himself across broken stone, searching. At last, his hand touched the beacon's console. Faint lights flickered under his bloodied fingers. "Come on, one last time," he muttered. The console hummed weakly. A spark shot through the chamber. A signal pulsed outward again, stronger, brighter. In the cold ship above, alarms blared. The armored men turned their heads. The leader stood sharply. "What is that?" The child's heart leapt. "It's him!" The leader's eyes narrowed. "Impossible, he cannot—" But he stopped because the ship shook violently. Outside, blue light streaked across the sky. The sleek ship that had answered the beacon before now roared with energy, turning its full attention on them. The leader cursed. "Shields! Now!" The armored men scrambled, but it was too late. A beam of light struck their hull, throwing the child against the chair. Chains rattled. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The child gritted their teeth. Through the smoke and chaos, hope flared again. Back below, the soldier forced himself upright, his vision blurred, his breath shallow, but his heart unshaken. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "I'm coming." He staggered out of the ruins, following the signal he had sent. Every step was agony, but he kept moving. Because the child was not just a survivor now, they were his reason to keep breathing. On the ship, the leader grabbed the child's chin, forcing their eyes to meet his. "You think he'll save you?" His voice dripped with rage. "He cannot even save himself." The child stared back, their voice steady. "He already did." The leader's grip tightened. But before he could speak, the ship tore open with a deafening crash. A figure stormed in through the breach, armor broken, bloodied, but alive. The soldier. His eyes blazed like fire. His weapon was raised, steady despite his trembling hands. "Get away from them," he growled. The chamber filled with chaos. The armored men attacked. The soldier fought like a storm, striking with desperation and fury. His blade clashed against theirs, sparks flying. The child struggled against chains until their wrists bled. "Here!" they cried. "I'm here!" The leader moved toward the soldier, blade drawn. "You should have stayed dead." Their clash shook the chamber. Blow after blow rang out. The soldier staggered but did not fall. His eyes never left the child. Finally, with a roar, he struck the leader's mask. Sparks exploded. The mask cracked open, revealing a twisted, scarred face beneath. The leader's eyes burned with hate. "You think this makes you a hero?" he spat. "You'll die for nothing." The soldier lifted his blade one final time. His voice was steel. "I'll die for them. That is enough." And with a swift strike, he brought the leader down. Silence followed. The armored men, seeing their commander fall, retreated in panic. The ship shuddered, alarms screaming. Fire spread across the walls. The soldier rushed to the child, breaking the chains with shaking hands. The child collapsed into his arms, sobbing, but smiling through tears. "I knew you'd come," they whispered. He pulled them close, his own eyes wet. "I told you. You're not alone." The ship groaned as explosions tore through it. The soldier carried the child to the breach. Together, they leapt into the open air. The sleek ship swooped beneath them, catching them in its beam of light. When they awoke, they were safe inside. The sleek ship's crew looked at them with respect, not hunger. The soldier lay weak but alive. The child curled at his side. The child touched his hand, whispering, "Am I home now?" The soldier smiled, faintly, his voice soft but certain. "You're home now."